Before I start the video, as I was recording and editing, I got the news that the writer of Dragon Ball Z, Akira Toriyama, has sadly passed away, and I would just like to show my gratitude. Thank you, Toriyama Sensei, for giving us a memorable childhood. Dragon Ball Z was the first anime that I ever laid my eyes on, and it really shaped my life in a lot of ways. Okay, so Dragon Ball Z was the first, Pokemon was the second, and had a great impact on my childhood, even more so than a lot of the DC and Marvel characters. Whenever I think about fight scenes, whenever I think about superheroes and supervillains fighting, I always automatically end up comparing it with the fights in Dragon Ball Z. So, like, is this as cool as the Dragon Ball Z fights? That's the first thing that I think about.
I won't let you get away with this! I won't let you!
And that is all because of Dragon Ball Z and the writer, Akira Toriyama, and all the people involved in that. So, yeah, I will be forever grateful that I got to witness this awesome phenomenon in my life that is Dragon Ball Z, Goku being one of my favorite superheroes of all time, and my heart goes out to the family of Akira Toriyama, and may his family members find the strength to go through, and we all will remember him through his works. And with that being said, thank you, Akira Toriyama. You will be remembered. What is up, guys and gals? Welcome to Tausify. My name is Tausif. So I watched a few clips of the Joe Rogan podcast where Zack Snyder appears, and it just popped up on my feed, so I watched them, and they left me kind of infuriated. Well, I was infuriated mainly because I'm a DC fan here, and like basically every time I see this guy, I'm like, you're the one who's responsible for the situation that DC is currently in. That's basically like my first thought that whenever I see this guy. And he was basically saying that superheroes should all be darker and grittier, and that Batman should kill. In a real situation, Batman would have been a killer. If you make situations where Batman doesn't have to kill, you're protecting your god in a weird way.
Because I want to see what happens. And they go like, well, don't put him in a situation where he has to kill someone. I'm like, well, that's just like you're protecting your god in a weird way, right? You're making your god irrelevant.
Whatever that means. And it said a lot of stuff like that, you know what I mean? And this guy, gotta tell you, basically, superheroes wouldn't act so noble in a realistic setting. That's basically what he's trying to say, But here's the thing. Shows like The Boys and Invincible exist, and they have done the ruthless, brutal superhero subgenre so much better than Zack could have ever done it, And it's not like I'm some pussy that doesn't like brutal, realistic superheroes. Amazon's The Boys is my favorite show. So for this guy to come in and just say that, oh, people are just triggered because I did the Justice League, I made Superman kill Zod, and I made Batman kill a bunch of thugs. There's just pussy. No, that's not what it is. And also, does he still think he's still directing The Watchmen? Like, does he not realize that Watchmen has ended, and then he's moved on to directing other movies? Or is he still in that mindset that everything has to be Watchmen and everything has to be that exact same way, and he can't just take his head out of he can't get his head out of it. But basically, what he's talking about, right? The whatever this Snyder verse, right? His darker, grittier version of the Justice League. I sat down and I thought about it, and what I'm about to say might be a bit hard to digest for a lot of DC fans, but I actually understand his take on DC. In fact, I appreciate it even. Like, I understand his point of view, right? Like, basically he's trying to do, like, even if you guys have watched The Boys, you guys have watched Invincible, you guys have watched Watchmen, but he actually wants to be like, okay, if the real DC like the main superheroes like the Justice League, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern, Flash, all of these big shot superheroes started doing things that way in a brutal, gritty, realistic way, what would that universe kind of look like? That's basically what he's trying to like put out, right? So I thought about it. What he wants to do will never happen unless someone else does it first. What do I mean? Someone else needs to do it first. Basically what I'm trying to say is, like, even if we do kind of understand that, okay, this is what Zack Snyder wants to establish, a gritty DC universe where the Justice League, Superman, Batman, they're all like really real, like ultra realistic, and people would die and they're cool with it, and it's just a realistic take on superhero. Fine, if that's what he wants to do, ultra realistic and kind of ruthless, kind of brutal, and that's the kind of Snyderverse that he wants. First, like, the problem with that is that if you look at Marvel for a second, right? If you look at MCU's example, the MCU, people didn't have like a clear picture of what a superhero cinematic universe would look like until MCU actually did it. You know what I mean? So at first there was like Captain America, then there was Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and all these superhero movies one after the other. And then when you've done introducing all your superheroes, then you do an Avengers movie, then you do some more superhero movies, then another Avengers movie, and then, Captain America, Civil War, this and that, and then Avengers Infinity War, and then Avengers Endgame. Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers, they actually made a baseline superhero universe from the ground up. And then afterwards, if you look at what happens after Avengers Endgame, you had TV shows like WandaVision, where they kind of mess with reality a little bit. And then you have shows like Loki, for example, where they really, really mess up with the timeline, and they find alternate versions of themselves. There's a male Loki, and then he finds a female Loki. You get your introduction to the multiverse, basically. And obviously, how can we forget Spider-Man No Way Home? We got all the versions of Spider-Man in one movie. You see, now, whatever you do with whatever experiment you want to do with the multiple universes in the multiverse and different versions of the same superheroes, a lot of it is still not sticking, granted, but people are at least more comfortable with exploring this concept, right? This distorted version of a superhero or a superhero universe being distorted, being different from what we're used to, stuff like this. But in the case of the DCEU, the Snyderverse, the stuff that Snyder wanted to do, without introducing a basic superhero universe, Snyder wanted to go in and go hardcore, brutal, realistic, and gritty superhero takes, ultra realistic minded superheroes like the Batman and Superman, and killing villains and killing people off if they have to, and stuff like that, without introducing, like, people don't know, outside of the comic books, most of the people, they don't really know what a DC universe, just like how in a Marvel universe, they got to experience what Marvel looks like, when all the superheroes are in one place, and it's live action, and it's like the comic book accurate, like close to comic book accurate versions of the superheroes. Similarly, in DC's case, people need to first be introduced to a world where the superheroes are themselves, and this is what a live action cinematic DC universe looks like. People need to get used to that first, and then you do a Loki type or a Flashpoint Paradox or you know what Marvel did with Loki, or what Marvel did with Spider-Man No Way Home, stuff like that. Maybe you do a thing or two, a movie or a show or something that is similar to Loki or Spider-Man No Way Home or the Flashpoint Paradox. You do something that opens up this gateway where now you can just explore different universes within the DC multiverse, and then in one of those multiverses you get the Snyderverse. You know, if you do it like that, at least this way DC fans will actually be prepared, and they will actually feel comfortable thinking about, okay, this is not the main universe, so this is still not the end of the world, that Snyder is making films in his dark, gritty kind of take on superheroes, but it's just his separate Snyderverse. And whoever has a thing for the Snyderverse, whoever likes that kind of stuff, they can then go and just enjoy a Snyder movie. You know what I mean? So this is basically what I'm thinking about, you know. So at least James Gunn, I don't think James Gunn is gonna implement this kind of hard, brutal, dark and gritty, realistic take on superheroes. I think, like, my assumption, my prediction is that James Gunn is going to be pretty much accurate to the comic book characters. You know, pretty much accurate to source material. That's what I think. Other than that, if James Gunn is successful at, you know, redirecting and course correcting the DC cinematic universe, whatever they're going to end up calling it, if they end up going to a point where there is a situation where you can explore other universes within the DC multiverse, I feel like then at least you can actually bring back Snyder and let Snyder do his thing in that separate universe, which is the Snyderverse. You know, if you can get all the Peter Parkers and all the Spider-Men in one movie, I think you can do this for Zack Snyder as well, right? Just say that, okay, this is the multiverse. This is the universe where Snyder is at. This is the Snyderverse. And whatever you want to do, whatever Snyder wants to do, he can do it here, right? He cannot, like, come out and do something in the main, like, the canon universe, but there are, like, Elseworlds, like, alternate, you know, universes, and one of them is the Snyderverse. You know, this is how you can actually implement what Snyder wants to do, because not everyone disagrees with Snyder. Of course, what Snyder is talking about has some validity, because, like, when you do look at it from an objective point of view, well, what will Batman do in a situation where if he doesn't kill the villain will 100%. There's absolutely no doubt that if Batman doesn't kill the villain, then the villain is for sure gonna kill innocent people, right? What would Batman do in that situation? In the next video, I'm going to talk about this, and the next video is going to be very, very soon. Yeah, where there I'm going to talk about Batman. Should he kill or should he not kill? And if he doesn't kill, right? To what extent is he going to take his code of the no kill, like the no kill code? How far is he going to take it? You know, so we're going to talk about it in the next video. So until then, stay tuned, and if you liked my take on the Snyderverse, then hey, drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and push the bell notification so that you get notified every single time I upload a new video. And with that being said, until next time, I'm going to talk about Batman and should he kill or should he not kill, and is it really better for the story? We're going to go all into that in the next video, but until then, be good and stay Tausified.